Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với phần cuối cùng của chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam ngày hôm nay để tìm hiểu thêm về mô hình trường đại học Minerva, một dự án khởi nghiệp giáo dục hoàn toàn mới với tham vọng là sẽ thay đổi nền giáo dục toàn cầu. Qua phần chia sẻ của anh Kenn Ross là giám đốc khu vực châu Á của trường đại học Minerva. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So now it's come to one of the most important questions and the top of mind of the Vietnamese parents, I guess the students around the world, tuition.
Right.
The cost of learning
Yes.
at Minerva.
Right. This is another problem in U.S. higher education that we're actually trying to solve, right?
Yeah.
And so
But
listen,
it comes to our mind, it's always expensive to study in the U.S. though.
it is not just, listen, it is not just Vietnamese parents who believe that U.S. higher education is expensive. American parents believe this as well.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. I'll give you some examples. Like, tuition in the United States for schools has really gone up so much in the past 30, 40 years, much more than the cost of inflation. Since 1985, the consumer price index in the U.S. has risen a total of 115%.
Okay.
But college tuition has risen by almost 500% in that same period of time, right? And this has been continuing since the 1970s.
Yeah.
It is a lot of money. So basically, I always say, hey, I have a relative in 1968 who entered Harvard, right, and he paid $1,760 for tuition. If you basically turn that into, at the actual inflator, at current dollars, that's about 11,000 US dollars. But tuition for that school, for example, is not $11,000. It's about 40 some thousand dollars just for tuition, right? And it's not the highest. There are many schools, that are even higher. So basically, Minerva believes from the beginning that this is something we have to do. We have to do something about. Minerva, actually, tuition is 10,000 US dollars a year, right?
10,000 US
10,000 US dollars a year. This is tuition.
That's
got
to be fixed.
It's certainly fixed for the moment. I could see that potentially rising with the cost of inflation, but if anything, it'll just go up.
So 10,000 is about average in America, or
actually
no,
low
level?
Much lower. So compared to, say, our peer schools that we consider maybe comparable to us, and that's just a few, maybe MIT, maybe Harvard for certain things. Schools like this are, as I said, tuition is over $40,000, 40 to 45, maybe almost $50,000. Even state universities, even public universities now in the United States, certainly for people that aren't residents of that state, and probably most Vietnamese students, for example, won't be residents from that state, even other Americans might not be residents of that state, will be $35,000, right? Okay. So this is a major difference in what exists out there, right? So, as I said before, it's very interesting because as we've reinvented and reimagined a lot of things, we can provide a better, more modern curriculum. We can teach better and teach more effectively. We can allow people to experience the globe, and we can do all of this for cheaper, actually.
So totally tuition 10,000 US dollars. If you plus the rooms and boards, so totally, what is the amount of money, the total amount of money that we expect to spend if we get into Minerva?
Important question, because certainly with room and board, these are things that we really can't do much about. I mean, it does cost to live and cost.
Because you lived the first year in San Francisco.
Yes.
And the rest of the 3 years around the world, so the costs vary too.
It will vary, but we're committed to keeping that variation very small. So we estimate another, say, 18,000 US dollars for about a total of 29,000 US dollars.
So it's about 30.
About 30.
Totally.
Call it 30 to be conservative, right?
A year.
And that's why Minerva also does offer financial aid as well, because just
scholarship,
we have need-based financial aid. So, like a lot of other top universities in the U.S.
Any opportunities for international students from Vietnam, for example?
Of course. Again, we have students. We don't have international students. Think about this. We don't split people up because, one, most of our students aren't American. We are an American university, but we are open equally for everybody. We have no quotas, no limitations for people. However many people from any country, from any place with any background, however many people can meet our standard, our bar, which is very high, they get in. And so that means that however many people from Vietnam meet the bar, however many people from India or from Brazil meet the bar, they get in, right? And so the financial aid, to your question, financial aid also is need-based. If you need it, then you will get it.
And the cost of tuitions in, let's say the second year, the third year, and the final year is still the same plus the room and board in different cities around the world.
Yes, correct.
Interesting. So for now, you have only one Vietnamese student for the founding class, but are you receiving more applications from the
We have been receiving more.
How do you get the word out now?
This year? Well, basically, certainly being here, we hope to get the word out, so thank you.
Get more applications after this show.
Right, I believe it's all about sharing with people our vision and our model, and really getting people to think really deeply about what great US or even global, what great higher education can and should be, right? At the very least, when we share with people about Minerva, and we do this, certainly through, through these types of forums, we talk to a lot of schools, we talk to a lot of parents and teachers and educators in schools. We're on social media. There are many different ways that we're trying to we're getting this message out to people, because we want people to really ask the hard but important questions about what should a great university be? What should higher education be?
I understand. My biggest question is this worth the money? I mean, you are a totally new school. You just established, and now you coming the fall 2014, which is the first class.
Right.
So the big question is, what makes people curious is this worth the money? I mean, would they rather go to other university with, like 100 years of history, or this is a school which is established like 2 or 3 years, and you get charged like $10,000 US plus room and board, which is totally about $30,000 a year, which is relatively not so cheap compared to a lot of
It's still
school.
a bit of money, right?
Yeah, it's still a bit of money for the Vietnamese parents and students. So is this worth the money? Is this worth the try? I mean, could you convince us more?
This is all about a better ROI for higher education. U.S. higher education right now, regardless, even if you're going to top schools, you get what in many cases is a decent brand, but behind that, your experience you get, the actual education you get, how you were educated, what you learn, is not, quite frankly, what we believe up to snuff, right? We're not the only ones, right? Listen, why are so many people who have been to Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Yale, why have they joined Minerva, right? Why do they work for Minerva? Why do they work with Minerva? It's because we know more clearly than anybody about ROI. And we know that ROI actually needs to increase.
So long story short, I want to make a summary of this, what we have talked about Minerva, which is, reimagining university. What's make you difference? Tell me some, bullet points, quick summary.
Right. The things that make Minerva different, several different points. One is this modern, relevant curriculum, right? That's based on what we call the science of learning, which is the study of the way people actually learn, right? That's number one. The second thing is this improved classroom experience, both in terms of small classes, but also in how we leverage technology, how we use technology to improve individual student learning outcomes. Third would be the ability to experience the world, right? Global immersion,
That's
and
fascinating
live in
too.
it and actually understand it. Because we're training global citizens, not just citizens, right? And then fourth, and very, very important, certainly very, very important for people in Vietnam, is increased accessibility. And that comes in two forms. One is no quotas or no limitations. So a very pure merit-based system that, the bar is high, but it doesn't matter where you're from or what your background is. That's very important. And then also much, much lower cost, right? So certainly lower tuition, lower overall cost, plus financial aid. These are the four main, I'd say, things that, and there's a lot of detail behind this, of course. There are four main ways in which Minerva is very differentiated in a purposeful and structured way and seeks to change higher education as we know it.
And the founding class will attest to that.
They can attest to that.
I'll try to get in touch with a Vietnamese girl.
Do it and follow, definitely.
Founding class.
Definitely.
To tell what it looks like studying at Minerva.
Yes, you have a great perspective.
And I hope you get more Vietnamese students for the program. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của anh Kenn Ross, là giám đốc khu vực châu Á của trường đại học Minerva, là một dự án khởi nghiệp giáo dục hoàn toàn mới với tham vọng là sẽ thay đổi nền giáo dục toàn cầu. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình này trên website fpnc.vn hoặc là gửi thêm những câu hỏi, những thắc mắc về cho chương trình tại địa chỉ facebook.com/tôi Việt Nam. Chúng tôi sẽ chuyển đến cho anh Kenn Ross. Và một lần nữa xin cảm ơn quý vị đã quan tâm theo dõi. Hẹn gặp lại trong những chương trình kỳ sau. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.